morning. Welcome to the Henry County Board of Commissioners. 9 a.m. Tuesday, May 6, 2025, regular scheduled board meeting. We will begin our meeting with an invocation from Pastor Leonard Himes, who will also lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If I could get everyone to stand, please.
Good morning. Let's pray. Our Father, we come to Thee upon this day, and Lord, a new month You've given us in the first meeting. So Lord, we ask You to bless everything that happens. May it honor You and please You. And we thank You today, Lord, for the privilege of government and all that takes place in this great county. Lord, I ask You to bless now those that are out and about serving and rendering aid and everything, all offices that make things roll. Bless them individually, their families. And Lord, have Your hand upon this meeting, and we'll certainly thank You in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
The following planning and zoning item originally advertised for the May 6, 2025 BOC meeting has been postponed by the applicant. MC-25-01 has been postponed and will be heard at a later time. So if there's anyone here for that, you may be dismissed. Got a couple of items that I need to add to the agenda. There's a resolution for the Atlanta Speedway Airport approving funding given by GDOT. Can I get a motion to add this to the agenda?
I move to add to the agenda. Second.
Got a motion and second. All in favor? Motion carries. We do have executive session on the agenda for litigation, but we need to also add real estate to it as well. Proclamations recognizing Building Safety Month. Amber?
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and pillars of the community. It is an honor today to present to the public a proclamation recognizing May as Building Safety Month. Whereas Henry County is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depend on the safety and essential role of our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play in both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of village guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, buildings, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safety construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes and standards to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas these modern building codes and standards include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildfires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety, our code officials, who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas Game On, the theme for Building Safety Month 2025, encourages us to all get involved and raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local, state, tribal, territorial, and federal building safety and fire prevention departments in protecting lives and property. Now therefore, the Henry County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of Chair Carlotta Harrell, Vice Chair Neat Robinson, Commissioners Johnny Wilson, D. England III, Michael Price, Kevin J. Lewis, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as Building Safety Month in Henry County. Accordingly, we encourage our citizens to join us as we participate in Building Safety Month activities this 6th day of May 2025.
Thank you. Do we have Santos and your crew?
So can we get the building department representatives? I think we have inspectors here from both development and residential, and then Mr. Bowles. And Mr. Kirk as well, if he's present.
Proclamation recognizing Older Americans Month.
I would like to present a proclamation recognizing May 2025 as Older Americans Month, whereas Henry County proudly recognizes the significant contributions older adults make to our communities through their experience, wisdom, and continued engagement in civic, cultural, and economic life. And whereas the 2025 national theme for Older Americans Month, Flip the Script on Aging, promotes a more inclusive and empowered view of aging while challenging stereotypes and misconceptions about aging, highlighting that growing older is not a decline, but a time of opportunity, purpose, and growth. And whereas older adults remain active, vibrant, and influential in Henry County, serving as volunteers, mentors, caregivers, and leaders who inspire younger generations. And whereas Henry County is committed to supporting aging with dignity, promoting healthy aging practices, and ensuring that older residents have access to programs, resources, and environments that foster independence and inclusion. And whereas by flipping the script, we aim to shift the narrative around aging to one that values the full spectrum of aging experiences and celebrates the contributions of all individuals regardless of age. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the Henry County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of Chair Carlotta Harrell, Vice Chair Neat Robinson, Commissioners Johnny Wilson, D. England III, Michael Price, and Kevin J. Lewis, hereby proclaims May 2025 as Older Americans Month in Henry County and encourages all residents to join in recognizing and honoring our older population, advocating for their well-being and promoting positive attitudes towards aging. The 6th day of May, 2025.
Thank you. So we can
So
have,
we need all staff members within the Senior Services Department and Mr. Penn. And members of the Council on Aging, my apologies.
Before you read that one, we're gonna take another picture with the building department because I didn't realize there's staff. So don't read that one yet. Okay, a second.
proclamation recognizing National Emergency Medical Services.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, there were members of the building department present, the administrative staff who does all the processing of the permits, and we just need to get them back in a picture with you
Okay,
all.
can
And then we'll go to the next proclamation.
Okay.
I only called up the inspectors and did not call up the staff that actually makes it happen. So my apologies. Come on in, the whole team. Come on. Thank you.
It is an honor to present a proclamation declaring May 18th, 2025 as National Emergency Medical Services Week, We Care for Everyone. Whereas emergency medical services are a vital public service that ensures the safety of our citizens, and whereas the members of Henry County Fire Rescue are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness and injury, and whereas the emergency medical services system consists of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, and others. And whereas the members of Henry County Fire Rescue engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continue education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating the third week of May as National Emergency Medical Services Week. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Henry County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of Chair Carlotta Harrell, Vice Chair Neat Robinson, and Commissioners Johnny Wilson, D. England III, Michael Price, and Kevin J. Lewis hereby proclaims the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Henry County. We encourage all residents to express their appreciation for the outstanding efforts and unwavering commitment of our EMS personnel. Emergency Medical Services Week with the theme, We Care for Everyone. I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. The 6th day of May, 2025.
So we need the entire staff with Henry County Fire and Rescue.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Back with you. Back with you on this side. 3. There we go. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
The last one is for proclamation recognizing National Small Business Month.
It is an honor to present a proclamation recognizing May 2025 as National Small Business Month. Whereas small businesses are the engine of our national and local economies, representing more than 99% of all U.S. businesses and employing tens of millions of hardworking Americans. And whereas the month of May is designated as National Small Business Month, a time to recognize the critical contributions of entrepreneurs and small business owners whose innovation, perseverance, and commitment help drive progress and prosperity throughout the country. And whereas small businesses create jobs, build strong neighborhoods, foster economic resilience, and add value to the unique character and vibrancy of our communities. And whereas Henry County honors the determination and creativity of small business owners, especially those who have overcome unprecedented challenges to continue serving their customers, communities, and employees with excellence. And whereas we encourage individuals, large corporations, and public institutions to support small businesses not only during the month of May, but year-round through partnerships, purchases, and community engagement. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the Henry County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of Chair Carlotta Harrell, Vice Chair Neat Robinson, and Commissioners Johnny Wilson, D. England III, Michael Price, and Kevin J. Lewis, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as National Small Business Month in Henry County. We encourage our citizens to join in supporting our local entrepreneurs and enterprises, participating in Small Business Month activities, and celebrating their collective contributions to our communities. This 6th day of May, 2025. Thank you.
Do we have representatives from the chamber? Oh, is it chamber? Okay.
Next item on the agenda is employee anniversary recognition. If we could get HR Director Holly LaFontaine to come forward. Victoria.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, pillars of the community, County Manager's Office, and all of the dedicated employees of Henry County. Today, I've asked some of my staff to join me because what I want is for each month for you to be able to see and meet different staff members. So Victoria Rogers, Deputy Director, and Miss Anne Marie Landclose will be helping today. So I'm going to turn the presentation over to them. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, and pillars of the community. Again, I'm Victoria Rogers here with Miss Anne Marie Landclose to recognize some amazing employees for reaching milestones with their years of service with Henry County. So we will start with our 5 years of service. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I do ask that we hold our applause, please, until the end of each milestone group. And if you all are available, we'd love to have them take photos with you all as well. So beginning with 5 years of service, we have Logan Chitwood with Henry County Fire Rescue. If you are here today, please come up as I call your name. And also 5 years of service, Shatoria Radford with Parks and Recreation. All right, we will move on to 10 years of service. So we have Isaac Fisher with Henry County Police Department. And Mr. Fisher actually retired last year with 10 years of service, so congratulations to him. We have Miss Judy Elkins with Transit. Miss Katrina Wagner with Parks and Recreation. Mr. Kirby Collier with the Police Department. Mr. Matthew Lilicki with Henry County Fire Rescue. And Mr. Rodriguez Barnes with Henry County Fire Rescue. All right, well, congratulations on your 10 years of service.
All right, y'all.
Next, for 20 years of service, we have Ms. Donna Nauraki with the Henry County Sheriff's Office. And then moving on to 30 years of service, we have Mr. Jeffrey Morrison with Henry County Fire Rescue. And Mr. William Thompson with Henry County Fire Rescue. thank all of these employees for being Henry committed. Thank you all.
The next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. County manager will come forward and read our consent agenda.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the board. This is your consent agenda for Tuesday, May 6th at 9 a.m. Under Animal Control, we have a resolution accepting donations made on behalf of citizens to the Henry County Animal Care and Control totaling $438 in cash donations and $500 estimated in material donations. Under the county attorney, we have a resolution approving a public hearing required under the Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act of 1982, TEFRA, for the purpose of issuing certain tax-exempt bonds regarding Fairview Terrace, a multifamily housing project in Ellenwood. Under Financial Services, we have a resolution awarding the rental of uniforms and miscellaneous items to Cintosh Workplace Solutions utilizing the Omnia Partners Contract Number 13897 as a unit price contract with no fixed quantities for 1 year with 2 mutually agreed upon annual extensions. Under Fire Rescue, we have a resolution accepting a reimbursement grant from the Georgia Trauma Commission in the amount of $24,913.02 to reimburse the purchase of trauma equipment and emergency medical supplies for Henry County Fire Rescue. Under Planning and Zoning, we have a resolution approving a request for a new streetlight district for the Estates at Anderson Point, Phases 1 and 2 subdivision on McGarity Road, located in District 3. We also have a resolution approving a request for a new streetlight district for Kingston subdivision on Bill Gardner Parkway, Phase 2, District 1. We have a resolution approving a request for a new streetlight district for Broder Farm subdivision on Flippin Road, Phase 3, located in District 2. We have a resolution approving a request for a new streetlight district for Walker Terrace subdivision on Walker Drive, Phase 1, District 1. We have a resolution by the Henry County Board of Commissioners to adopt the state-required Capital Improvement Element Annual Update NCIE Community Work Program amended 2024, and this is countywide. Under Senior Services, we have a resolution to authorize contracting with the Georgia Department of Human Services utilizing the Community Services Block Grant for federal fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $167,076 to assist eligible low-income seniors within Henry County. Under SPLOST, we have a resolution to authorize the acquisition of right-of-way in the amount of 60,112.80 square feet, more or less, in Land Lot 204 of the 2nd District, Henry County, Georgia, by negotiated contract or condemnation pursuant to provisions of OCGA Section 32-3-4 through 32-3-19 for Bill Gardner Widening Project, parcel number 46, T-SPLOST project. We also have a resolution approving the Henry County Water Authority utility relocation estimated costs for Dutchtown Road in District 5 utilizing the HCWA Revenue Saving Bond in the amount of $16,003.10. We have a resolution approving the funding of stream credits for Fairview Road sidewalks in the amount of $307,800, District 2, SPLOST 5 project. Madam Chair, this ends the consent agenda.
Are there any questions from the board on the consent agenda? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, and pillars of this community. My name is Josue, last name de Jesus. I'm the Director of Stormwater. I would like to thank you for this opportunity to provide you with our story and our dear residents also. This presentation will just give a quick overview of our responsibilities and the regulatory requirements that we have. All right, let's start with again, the definition of stormwater is very important for us to understand what that means. Basically, it's that water that hits the impervious area, runs off, but as it runs off, it picks up a lot of pollutants, and that's a concern for us. So we have to manage this issue. And we do that taking into account water quality. We have to protect our water quality. We also have to provide flood protection for our local residents. And a big factor here is the fact that there are regulatory compliance that we have to address. And we have different rules in place. The primary rule that we have to address is the Clean Water Act. There's an NPDES permit. This is an acronym that refers to the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. Basically, a system of rules that are meant to protect our water resources. Now, these rules are pushed down to the states. In the state of Georgia, we have the Georgia Environmental Protection Division, and they also push down these rules to the local governments. And that's the reason we have these local ordinances that protect our water resources from different pollutants. And these pollutants, they actually come from different sources. And they are identified as point sources. So Henry County has to make sure that from these sources, like a pipe, that we don't have a major issue with pollutants reaching our rivers and our streams. Now, these pipes are identified as an MS4, right? These systems. Henry County is an MS4. What is that? Well, it stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. So we have separate systems. We have sewer and stormwater. Two separate systems, but they both contribute pollutants, right? So our focus in stormwater is that one system that picks up that rain and carries this pollutant into our rivers and our streams. So the federal government, they actually have rules for us. We have minimum control measures that we have to address. We are required to educate our residents. We are required to provide them with a way to get involved in protecting our resources. But we also have to address any type of illicit discharges that we see in our local jurisdiction. In addition to that, we don't want construction sites to contribute too much, a load of sediment into our rivers and streams. So we have to keep an eye on those construction sites. Once construction is done, we then have to address or keep an eye on post-construction systems. For example, a pond. We have to inspect them to make sure that they are working properly. And we have to keep an eye on ourselves, right? We have to make sure that we have good housekeeping practices. And that's one of the reasons why we actually keep an eye or maintain our own infrastructure. But as we all know, the infrastructure, it ages, and again, volumes and velocities are also increasing. So this is a factor that we have to keep in mind. And today we have about 19 contracted projects that total about $5.4 million, plus in-house projects that we are taking care of here in the department. And our stormwater fee that we collect actually helps us with making sure that we address all of these issues. Once this meeting is over, I would like to encourage the public to approach us. We're going to be in the back here. If they have any questions or concerns, we're going to remain in place for them to, for us to answer any of those questions. Does the board have any questions for us?
Are there any questions from the board? Questions from the board?
We thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the FY 2026 proposed budget. This is a public hearing. Benita, if you would come forward.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, and pillars of the community. Today is the first of two public hearings to review and discuss the proposed FY26 General Fund and Special Service District budgets. We have held two budget workshops, one on April 1st and the second on April 15th, where we have discussed the budget that we will review again today. This year's budget is based on maintaining the current millage rate of 15.733 mills and addressing the following three county-identified priorities: offer fair and competitive salaries and benefits for our employees, advance board priorities and strategic partnerships, and fund department essentials to maintain current service levels for Henry County residents. The goal of financial services is to create a balanced budget, utilizing available revenues to fund projected expenditures and to not build our budget based on utilizing fund balance to fund recurring operations. For the FY26 budget, all departmental requests were reviewed and prioritized based on priorities specifically identified by the commissioners during our annual leadership workshop and solidified during our Commissioner 101 budget review meetings. After careful review of department budget request submittals and subsequent alignment with the FY26 county priorities and objectives, county leadership is recommending the FY26 general fund and special service district budgets be $287.8 million, which is $28.1 million or 10.8% higher than our FY25 adopted budget of $259.7 million. The proposed budget allows the county to maintain current service levels while also providing support to 3 significant additions for FY26. The North Mount Carmel Rec Center, which opened on April 21st, providing support for the newly established Henry County Police Academy, which will begin classes in July 2025, and preparing for the opening of 2 new fire stations in FY26 and FY27. Some of the major items included in the proposed budget are $6 million for debt payments, $4.2 million for longevity and COLA increases for employees, $3.2 million for insurance and pension funding increases, $3.3 million increase for inmate medical and additional jail personnel, $2 million for additional fire personnel for stations 17 and 18, $1.8 million for critical need personnel, $1.5 million in additional funding for the Henry County Department of Transportation, $1.4 million for personnel and operating expenses related to the 5th State Court Judge coming on board in January 2026. Shown on this slide is a graphical representation of general fund budget increases. From FY21 to the proposed FY26 budget, you can see that we have implemented steady increases in the general fund budget. Over the 6-year history presented, the year-over-year budget increase has been on average about 10.2% to align with county growth and subsequent expense increases. Henry County population has increased 14 out of the 14 years from 2010 to 2024. In 2024, Henry County saw a 1.8% population increase with a numeric increase of 4,750 new residents. The Atlanta Regional Commission estimates that Henry County specifically will be home to 346,000 residents by 2050, which is a 44% increase from the 2020 census. Listed on the slide above are the identified priorities by each district commissioner. Just to highlight some of the priorities provided during our FY26 Budget Commissioner 101 meetings, Chair Harrell indicated that her top priorities for the upcoming year are public safety and continued maintenance of county facilities. This means making sure that public safety entities are provided with the right equipment and an appropriate number of personnel to properly address the safety needs and concerns of a growing county. The chair also wants to ensure that county facilities are well maintained and sufficient for residents and staff to conduct daily county business. Commissioner Wilson, the District 1 Commissioner, would like to prioritize continued road improvements, specifically resurfacing of major roadways and continued park improvements. These 2 initiatives will ease the traffic delays currently experienced throughout the county by residents and visitors, and the park improvements will continue to be an attraction for residents and visitors alike. Vice Chair Robinson, the District 2 Commissioner, would like to also prioritize road improvements and ensure that there are additional celebratory festivities for those in her area, such as the Fairview Christmas. Commissioner Anglin, the District 3 Commissioner, would like for the Parks Master Plan to continue to be implemented, specifically improvements to Heritage Park, as well as offer additional curb appeal in the downtown McDonough area by partnering with the city to install some type of water feature in the square, adding to the beauty and nostalgia that already exists downtown. Next, the District 4 Commissioner, Commissioner Price, would like to prioritize park improvements, specifically at Richard Craig Park, as well as add additional lighting to major corridors in the county, such as Jodico Road and Willow Lane. Finally, the District 5 Commissioner, Commissioner Lewis, would like to prioritize road improvements as well as ensure that the judicial system has the needed resources to adequately handle the increased caseload in a timely manner due to county growth and additions to public safety staff. As you can see, the common priority amongst most commissioners are continued investment in critical road infrastructure, park and recreation improvements and additions, and continued support of public safety. The recommended increases for FY26 are aligned to support these priorities. The FY26 proposed budget currently includes a recommendation for 78 new positions, 12 of which specifically support staff for the 5th State Court judge coming on board in January 2026. This slide details the departments and positions currently included in this recommendation. Here you have a comparison of the original request we received on the left compared to the items being recommended for inclusion and approval in the FY26 budget on the right. This budget assumes that we maintain the current millage rate of 15.733 mills. Departmental requests for personnel and operating expenses total $36.4 million compared to $9.7 million being recommended. Our recommendation is $27 million lower than the request, primarily due to uncertain financial impacts of U.S. tariff implementation, potential litigation related to impact fees, economic uncertainty, and loss of grant funding due to audit delays. During FY25, the county has lost $337,000 in grant funding. During this same period, we will receive $390,000 of reimbursements related to FY24 grant expenses. Based on the projected completion of our outstanding FY24 audit, we are expecting to be back on track with our grant funding beginning in FY26. As additional support for the summary just shown, this is a division summary that indicates where each department rolls up. In conclusion, we started with our adopted FY25 General Fund and Special Service District budget of $259.7 million. As you may recall, after tax collections in the November-December timeframe, it was determined that we would have additional revenue collections of approximately $17.7 million, primarily due to the 3 mil increase specifically for fire, police, and parks and recreation. The board did not take formal action on the $17.7 million, meaning we did not formally add these dollars to the budget. However, due to prior board commitments, the funds were allocated as such. $7.5 million was used for capital purchases for fire. $6.4 million was set aside in fund balance as a contingency due to the economic uncertainty. $2.9 million was designated for debt service payments, and $900,000 was used to cover critical need personnel and operational expenses. So of the $17.7 million, only $3.8 million would have increased the operating budget, which would have taken the budget from $259.7 million to $263.5 million. For FY26, the current recommendation is to add $24.3 million in additional expenses. That then leads to a recommended budget of $287.8 million, which goes along with all the previously provided materials. Shown here is a list of positions identified as critical need positions that must be funded prior to the adoption of the new budget. All these positions were submitted during the FY25 mid-year review process, except for 3 salary increases currently included in this list. The added items are shown with an asterisk on this slide. After holding 2 budget workshops and the first public hearing, the next step in the FY26 budget cycle is the second and final public hearing and subsequent adoption of the budget, which will be held on May 28th at 6:30 p.m., where the Board of Commissioners will be asked to vote on the budget. This concludes my presentation. I'm prepared to take any questions that you all may have.
Any questions from the board at this time? Commissioner Wilson.
Showing here you have a pension funding insurance increase, $3.2 million. Now insurance only went up $300,000.
So
Can you explain that, please?
Okay. Yes, sir. The increase in the budget is due to additional employees being added, the change in claims. We only adjust our insurance one time a year, and the number that you received from the brokers of the 300,000, they're looking at actuals. They're not looking at the budgeted dollars.
You mentioned about we lost grant funding.
Yes, sir.
How did we lose that grant funding?
There's a delay in our audit, so those are being worked on right now so that we can complete those and regain any grant funding that we've lost.
And the $3 million increase from last year, you said was a total of $17.7 million in increase?
Yes, sir.
So we are projecting, go back to the slide of how much additional revenue outside of the millage rate, of the total millage rate? What was the increase of additional revenues?
This one, or?
$6 million, maybe?
Is this the slide you were referring to?
The difference in your millage rate collections and your projected collections, was that, yes. Where does that difference, $7 million?
This one? Is this the slide you're referring to?
Well, I'm just asking the difference in your millage rate collections versus the expected collections.
So we collected, so, I'm sorry, hold on one second, let me add it up. So we're expecting to collect an additional $10.4 million. And that's due to the 4% growth that we're expecting to see. We're expecting to see real growth of 1.35% and inflationary growth.
So
of
$10
about-
million over the millage rate collections?
Yes.
What concerns me about the collections over the millage rate collection, last year it went up 3 mills, which affected probably 15,000 residents that was not on the school board exemption, right? So those residents with a fixed income was affected by, had a 3 mil increase completely, because I think the school board offered a rollback last year. So here we are collecting $10 million more than over the 15.733, and we're not even considering the people that's been affected by the 3 mil increase. I get phone calls from my seniors, are we looking at a rollback if we collect more than expected? Because the taxes are going up, but the revenue's not, right? So I'm not hearing anything about a rollback. I'm not hearing anything what we can do about what can we do to cut costs in certain departments, certain spending. I think I asked the question, what can we do to cut back on some of our spending? But I don't think I got any positive feedback about what we can do to cut back on any of these spending. So them are my concerns. I understand we have to pay the light bill, we have to pay our employees. I get that. But our seniors is the ones that really going to be affected the most through this increase of millage rate from last year. And here we are collecting $10 more million, and they're not going to be considered in this. So anyway, that's my comments.
So Madam Chair, if I may approach
Yes.
Good morning again, and I'm going to ask Ms. Campbell to go back to the slide regarding the request for priorities from the commissioners when we had our one-on-one budget meetings. Because our budget is based off of what we heard from our elected officials in terms of the priorities. To Commissioner Wilson's point, yes, we did do a 3 mil increase last year. But part of that 3 mil increase was because we have special service districts that we were underfunding, in general fund actually had to subsidize those special service districts to make sure that we were carrying Parks and Rec and public safety. If you'll look at the priorities for each district, you have public safety, in most all of them with the exception of maybe District 1 and then District 3, 4, and 3 and 4. That doesn't mean that those commissioners did not want them. But what we asked the commissioners to do was to identify what are the top 3 things that you're hearing from your constituents in your particular district. And so if you notice, we not only have public safety and Parks and Rec. Those are what we're collecting that additional 3 mils for, to make sure that we are, one, answering to what you all have told us are your priorities, but also making sure that we're funding those priorities. So about 1.5 years ago, this board passed a resolution to make sure that we were able to have fire apparatus available so that we don't have to compete with other jurisdictions to get in line to get ambulances, fire trucks. So when that resolution was approved, that means we have to set aside funding to be available to make those purchases. And so I hear you, Commissioner. I understand that the cost to be a resident here in the county, it comes at a cost. But I also want to remind this board that we also have an exemption. And so while your property values are going up, the county does not receive any additional dollars from those exemptions. I don't want the public to believe that we're taking this $10 million and it's just going into general fund. It is actually going to those particular special service districts. So the funding, and that's one thing that we have committed to doing, making sure that we're going to give you all, and that's why some of you all do monthly meetings with our teams, but we will have monthly meetings outlining how those expenses are being made. Parks and Recreation and Public Safety are the 2 things that we consistently hear from this board. Those are the 2 things that we consistently hear from the public. And to answer your question, Commissioner, the only option would be to reduce budgets within all of our units in our organization and or layoffs. That would be most of it. Departments that don't generate revenue, they don't have any other source of revenue coming in, we would have to look at that. I think you also asked the question about pension, and I know Ms. Campbell answered that, but I also want this board to understand your pension costs are driven by your salaries. They're driven by the number of employees that we have. And so if our salaries are increasing because we have a class and compensation plan that allows our employees to get a 1.8% increase year over year, that drives your pension costs. And so most of our budget is supported by our property taxes and our sales tax. So I wanted to make sure that the board understood this budget is as lean as we can make it, also understanding that we have committed to provide a level of service for you all and to the citizens of our county. Madam Chair, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yes, I have, how many more additional fire stations that we are behind in building in the county?
So I do know that we have 3 that are slated. We are at fire stations, we have 16 currently, and we have a 17, 18, and 19 that's due to be constructed. We have acquired the land for 1 of the 3, and then we are in conversations with the Board of Education on the 2nd property. In terms to your particular question, in terms of how far behind we are, I'll defer to our fire chief. He's here.
Fire chief, please come up.
That can come up and speak to that, because I know where that's headed.
But just in those 3 stations alone, you still have to buy equipment for them, and you have to staff them.
That is correct. And that's one of the reasons, Chair, well, I'll let the fire chief speak. Yeah.
Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Board of Commissioners, and pillars of the community. The question is, how many additional fire stations? If we look at Henry County today as we stand. Once we build the 3 stations that are slated, it is our belief that we'll need at least another 5 fire stations to be able to provide coverage throughout the county. With our call volume increasing every year, right now we're right at 40,000 calls annually. We've seen somewhere between a 1,200 and 1,700 call increase every year. We believe that obviously we're going to have more volume stations to be able to handle that call volume. Right now we're taxed every day. Our ambulances, we have 14 ambulances in our system. Multiple times a day, we find ourselves without ambulances in the system because of call volume. We also know that as this community continues to grow, it's no doubt that those 5 fire stations will help us with our ISO rating. And then the question about staffing and apparatus, no doubt that fire station doesn't operate without apparatus, and it definitely doesn't operate without that correct staffing. And our goal is to set the correct staffing, which is to meet NFPA 1710, which is 4 persons per apparatus. Over time, obviously, we're working on a plan to be able to meet that.
And then what type of equipment do you have to have for each station?
So each station, a minimum of an engine in that station, which is a pumper. Some of the stations will require additional, or will need a ladder truck in those stations, depending on where it's going to go in the county. And then obviously EMS will have to have our ambulances in those stations. And also thinking as we continue to grow, we'll need another leadership layer, which would be our 4th Battalion in the county.
Okay, and what percentage of our budget is public safety? About 52% of our, so over half of our budget is public safety.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the remainder goes to all other departments that we have to maintain, from Parks and Rec.
Yes,
And we
ma'am.
just completed a Parks and Rec master plan. And I know that many of the commissioners hear from their constituents all the time about wanting additional park and recreation facilities and walking trails and all types of things within the districts and throughout the county. And then, of course, infrastructure and road resurfacing is a huge part as well. So I just wanted the public to hear, we have public safety needs that we have to address. We want to make sure that our fire department can respond to calls. We want to make sure that our police department can respond to calls, and then, just all of our public safety in general. And so, and then we have the judicial system, as Commissioner Lewis has said that, we were given a 5th state court judge that we've got. By state law, we don't have a choice. We've got to fill those positions and make sure that that state court judge has the staffing that's necessary for them to operate that particular courtroom. And so I think that just, to the county manager's point, that we are very stingy on how we spend our dollars, and we spend them wisely. So thank you, Chief.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I can add just a hard number to that and then follow up on what Chief Pat was advising. The ISO recommendation for Henry County based on population and in partnership with our municipalities, we should have 25 stations in Henry County.
And we only have 16, so we're behind.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Robinson, did you have a comment?
The constraints page. So as we're talking about the needs of each commissioner, and you were talking about the loss of the grant funding due to the audit delay, you stated that if once that is regained, that funding will be available, and we can offset some things using that funding, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to make that clear on the needs with the commissioners, and also other funding that we may need for public safety as well. Do you have a time frame that we're going to regain that for the audit?
I'll have to defer to our CFO,
Okay.
Mr. Smith, as far as the timing.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, pillars of the community. In response to your question, Vice Chair Robinson.
Yes.
We just recently completed the 23 audit and submitted that to the DOAA as well as the GFOA. We're currently working on the 24 audit with the goal of having that completed by June 30th of this year, probably no later than July if things continue along the pace that we're tracking right now. And we should then be back on track to receive all of the grant funding that we've been receiving before.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so this is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward can come forward, and you have 3 minutes to speak. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
They got something to say too?
Okay, y'all got something to say too? Okay. Go ahead.
So just to make some general comments, first one is, unlike our federal government, we have a working budget. It is not an open checkbook. It is a system of checks and balances that we must maintain at the local level. We as a collective body may not agree entirely on the budget, but that is part of the process. With that, I always want to make sure that every dollar that we do have is accounted for through that budget process, which is where I feel our federal government seems to have failings in their budget process. With that, I do want to remind us as constituents, because each one of us who is elected is also a constituent of this county, is our greatest benefit is our homestead exemption that we do have. In the budgetary process, it is the greatest burden that we have because it really straps our collections when there is those exemptions in place. So with that being said, I want to thank staff for prioritizing the things that we have outlined in each district that we haven't been able to do necessarily in the past. That is important. So thank you to staff for listening to us, dealing with us, coming from the different personalities from each district. And thank you for our constituents who bear with us through this budget process. Thank you.
Commissioner Lewis, go ahead.
Hey, good morning. To echo Commissioner Ames' point, just thank you for all the work you're doing. I did want to point out to this particular slide when you talk about the assumptions. So I don't want people to get confused by that line that says a 4% increase in property taxes. Because if somebody looks at that, they may think that we're increasing property taxes by 4%. So can you explain that?
So that is the expected growth in property taxes. So we're expecting about 1.35% in real growth. So that's new houses coming into the system, getting property taxes. And then inflationary growth is expected at about 2.65%, and that's for homes that don't have the exemption.
Right. I just want to make sure we're clear, we don't have any intentions on increasing the millage rate. And also, I did want to point out just to Chief Wilson, when he was talking about the needs of fire, and one of the reasons we had the special service districts last year and why we supported it is when you look at the demographics of Henry County and what we're projected to be in the next 15 to 20 years, we have an aging population in Henry County. So that it not only, I think when people think of fire, they think that, they just go out and just fight fires. The majority of the calls for fire and EMS is actually for the emergency services part. And with a population that is aging, and we have a lot of retirees moving into the county, that stresses what we're going to have as far as the emergency services personnel. So that's why we have to pay particular attention to making sure that we have the funding available to make sure we have ambulance. That's why we invested some of our ARPA dollars into Piedmont Henry to build an additional tower at Piedmont Henry, because we know that going forward, we are going to be strapped as far as having the beds necessary, especially with the way our population is growing and the way our population is aging. So just want to kind of give everybody a window into what we're thinking about. It's not just a today scope that we're thinking about. We're also planning for the future. That is our job, to plan for the future, to make sure that we put the county in a good position, that way we don't have to have tax increases. We actually are planning so that we have all the requisite items necessary to make sure we take care of the entire population. So I just wanted to point that out.
Commissioner Price.
I just wanted to maybe have you to answer something just for clarity for the general public, to make sure that I understand it as well. Last year, there was an increase of 3 mil from the previous millage rate. But from my understanding, the general mill was rolled back, and the extra was specifically just for our special services district, which means that the general fund did have a rollback, and the extra that we collect goes specifically for those special services districts for our public safety. So I
That's
just want to clarify that for the general public to know that there was that rollback, and whatever increase was just for that specific area.
You're correct, Commissioner.
Okay. No one came up for public hearing, so public hearing is closed. This is one of 2 budget public hearings. The next one will be heard at our May 28th
Yes,
BOC
ma'am.
meeting, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next item is SPLOS. I'd like for Lynn to come forward to talk about that item that we added at the beginning of the agenda for the Atlanta Speedway Airport.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, and pillars of the community. I am very pleased to bring before you a resolution approving a GDOT limited participation contract for the design and construction of a Mauser lighting system at the Atlanta Speedway Airport. Of course, Henry County desires to make improvements at the Atlanta Speedway Airport as outlined in our Airport Capital Improvement Plan. And GDOT has agreed to a limited participation contract for the design and construction of a medium-intensity approach lighting system, and that's what Mauser acronym stands for. The system will include steady burning light bars and sequenced flashing lights to guide pilots during approach. This enhances the visibility and safety during low visibility conditions. The state grant funding is available through this limited participation contract in the amount of $900,000, and there is a local match in the amount of $300,000, which we will be using SPLOST 6 funds. The final GDOT contract will be submitted electronically for execution by the chair or county manager. The GDOT really trusts us to execute our projects quickly and efficiently, and we plan for the future at the airport. We have placed funding in our SPLOST 6 for the purpose of being able to have these local funds available, the local match available, and that does not impact our general fund. I have a picture here. It's kind of hard to tell, but that kind of salmon-colored T shape is what the lighting system will look like. There will be pillars with lights at a line. Then there's some bar lights that go all the way to our runway. I have a picture that kind of gives you an idea visually of what it looks like. And it may not be exact. This is an example at another airport. And then this kind of gives you a visual of what it looks like for pilots when they're lining up with the runway where they can see at a distance. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the board?
Do we have any lighting at all at the airport?
So yes, we have runway end identifying lights on runway 24. Their acronym is REALS, and that does help. They're a pulse flash, so that does help the pilots. We did not have those a couple years ago. Those were added. We have PAPI lights, and then of course, runway and taxiway lights.
So are we going to remove this system for the newer update or
No,
adding
this
to this?
This enhances
Okay.
our
All right.
existing lighting system.
All right, perfect.
Any other questions from the board? Yeah.
Just had a comment. Lynn, as always, thank you. Fabulous job. And I also want to congratulate and highlight that we just had a runway resurfacing at the airport. And so one of the reasons GDOT likes Henry County is because we get projects done.
We do.
We get projects done, and we do them well. And I also want to point out, we just recently went to Washington, D.C. to talk with our congressional delegation. And what they were really interested in is our airport master plan. And so they are eagerly awaiting our airport master plan to be completed because they are then wanting to identify funds that they can designate towards our airport. So I just want to let the public know that we are working, tirelessly and constantly trying to make sure that we get, federal matches, state matches, and it's a testament to the work that our county staff is doing. So I just want to say thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn, so much. So we need to make I need to make a motion for us to, I need a motion for us to accept the funding from GDOT with the local match. Can someone make a motion?
I move to approve accepting the funding also with the local match.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So excited, I almost forgot about the motion. Okay. Rocky.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and pillars of Henry County. We got a few resolutions here, so we're going to go
Okay.
one by one. The first one we have is a supplemental agreement for the design services of Bill Garner Parkway. Bill Garner Parkway is a TIS Plus project, and TIS Plus was approved by the voters back in November of 2021. Bill Garner is located in District 1. The Water Authority has requests for the county to do additional MS4 items, sediment ponds. One of the things they want to make sure that we provide pollution and temperature reduction measures. That's because, as we know, there's a water reservoir down off Bill Garner. Adding lanes, we want to make sure that we control the pollution. When your vehicles, the brakes, the dust, and all that, we want to make sure that we can control all that. So that was something that the Water Authority has requested. We're looking around $182,800 for the design, additional design. We do have the funds available under our TIS Plus project. We're also under right-of-way acquisition. We're about 41% into it. So getting this design done, we will help to move forward with the right-of-way. These ponds will be located actually on all the property owners. So those properties we have been put on hold acquisition because we know there's going to be some additional impacts. I will take any questions.
Any questions on this here? Okay. Can we get a motion to approve? All in favor? Okay. Next item.
The next item is the bid award for the resurfacing of various county roads. This resurfacing, we call it batch one. We just opened this about 2 weeks ago. This is our first, as you know, SPLOST 6 was approved by the voters in November. We started collection April 1st, and we already got a project out for bid and received awards, bids on it. This is about 6 roads, and we'll show them here in a second. The lowest bid, we received 5 sealed bids through the purchasing department. C.W. Matthews was the lowest, $15,861,270. This is the breakdown per district. District 1, I'm not going to read a lot of numbers, so just there, District 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you can see, there's a City of Stockbridge. So when we were doing our SPLOS 6, the county did an IGA, intergovernmental agreement with all the cities. And part of that, the City of Stockbridge agreed and approved to do certain roads. And you'll see them here in a second. So their portion is close to $4 million. And these are the roads. District 1, we're looking at Keys Ferry. District 2, we're looking at Hudson Bridge and Flippin. District 3, Kelly Town Road. District 4, Eagles Landing, Hudson Bridge, East Lake Parkway, and Flippin Road. And also District 5 has Flippin Road. As you can see, Flippin Road is in multiple districts, so each district is going to pay their share, as well as the City of Stockbridge. Altogether, on those 6 roads are 21 miles of roads to be resurfaced. Before questions, I just want to also mention that not only we have done this batch 1, we also have a batch 2 and a batch 3 out. Batch 2, we have 179 roads. This is only on District 1 and 5. 62 miles we're looking at resurfacing. And the bid opens tomorrow, the 7th. And then we have a batch 3. That's 103 roads, 31 miles, and that's District 2, 3, and 4. That one opens on May the 21st. So since we have a meeting May 28th, our goal is to bring those resolutions for the May 28th board meeting. In addition, we also have the county received a letter from GDOT that we're going to receive additional LRA. LRA stands for Local Road Assistance. It's really good because there's no match. The county doesn't have to put any match. So we are going to be meeting with the commissioners later this week, and hopefully by the May 28th, we will also bring this to the board to approve the resolution of the list of roads to be resurfaced. Now I'll take any questions.
Any questions?
I do. You said all these are roads under this current contract in SPLOS 6, right?
SPLOS 6, that's correct.
Please. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rocky, and your team. And I also want to just say, as you pointed out, the importance of having intergovernment agreements is very important, because when people are riding our roads, it doesn't matter if you're in the cities or you're in the county, unincorporated, it doesn't matter.
That's correct.
So I encourage every city, all of us, to work on doing IGAs so we can just get it done. The money is there, as you stated, showing, if you go back to the slide, showing with the City of Stockbridge. These are things that, every government entity should know, that intergovernment agreements are the top tier for our road infrastructure, and we need to make sure that it doesn't matter if you're paving this side versus this side. You have to make sure that we're all on one accord, so that way there's a smooth ride for all of our constituents. So I just want to say thank you for listening, and also thank you for reaching out to our cities. And I hope all of our cities is watching this, because they know, even through Georgia Municipal Association, that is the key to do intergovernmental agreements with their county officials. So thank you, Rocky, and your team for making sure that that happens.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And another thing is, when you combine county and city and you put a bid like this, your price is going to be lower. We actually estimated, our estimate was higher. So when we saw that, the estimate, the cost that came, it's like, wow, that's really good. So, which means we may have some additional funds for more resurfacing on the next round.
Thank you.
Rocky, thank y'all. I just want to make a point that we are taking care of updating and maintaining our county roads. It still is a huge hindrance that our state roads are not where they're at. that I want our constituents to know from a county level, and you can see here that we are dedicated to making sure we get those updated, maintained, and well kept. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
So can I get a motion to approve this, the resolution approving the bid for the resurfacing?
Motion.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries. Okay, Rocky?
Okay. Our next resolution is design services for the widening of Oak Grove.
Thank you, Jesus.
This is design only, design only. But we're starting the design. So through the purchasing department, we issue a request for qualifications. We received 6 proposals that were received and reviewed by a committee of Henry County staff professionals. Kimley Horn and Associates ranked the highest and provided the fee for the design services in the amount of $2,775,400. As I mentioned, this is a +6 project for the design, and the limits are from Jonesboro Road all the way to Jodico. And just like every project that we've done widening, commissioners, we are including multi-use path, we're including lighting, we're including everything that, that the citizens are requesting. So, and it's a very needed, as you know. In addition, on this road, if you look at it, it runs parallel to I-75. So it's definitely a great improvement, and we're going to start with this very shortly.
When is the traffic light gonna start working at that intersection of Jonesboro Road?
Hopefully.
I just wanna know.
I was hoping to be on by the time I came back, but anyways, hopefully within this month. I know that the poles are up, the heads are up. It's just a matter of getting the power. So we'll double check and give you an update on that later on.
Okay, all right, I appreciate that. Any questions or comments from the board?
I would just like to thank you again for working for this. It used to be my cut through, and then everybody else decided they wanted to cut through as well. So it is much needed. One of the things I'm proud of is when I first got on the board, there was a development that was approved at the corner of Jonesboro and Oak Grove. And in their request for the rezoning, they agreed to give us the land that we needed for the right-of-way, so we won't have to go through that right-of-way acquisition, which will save us some money as well. So again, I'm grateful to see this project coming. It is, again, I believe, has become a major thoroughfare to many citizens. And so it's going to really be a tremendous blessing and relieve a lot of traffic. So just grateful for this.
Yes, sir. And in addition, there's an existing bridge that, with the widening, is going to be upgraded as well. So it's also a plus for that.
Awesome. Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution awarding this bid.
Second, also the correction of the development, Kimley Horn and Associates.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, got a motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries, thank you. And next?
Yes, next resolution is for the design services for the widening of Jonesboro Road. This is our phase 2, and it's from North Mount Carmel Road, from North Mount Carmel Road to county line. Again, this is a +6 project, which voted and passed in November of 2024. Through the purchasing department, we issued requests for qualifications, and the county received 6 proposals, and they were reviewed by the committee of Henry County staff and professionals. Kimley Horn and Associates ranked the highest on this one. They provided a fee for the design services in the amount of $3,474,000. Funding is available under our +6, and we recommend for the commissioners to approve this. I will take any questions. And before the questions, Commissioner, we're about 51% on our phase 1. We're pushing that.
53. but.
50, yeah, in the 50s.
We've been stuck on 53 for a couple months, so I'm just.
53. So we're getting there, Commissioner. Like we mentioned before, there's a lot of commercial, and that's the tough part. But we're going to get through it and hopefully get it out for bid by the end of the year. So I just want to give you an update on that.
So Rocky, I have a question. So we have a phase 1 and a phase 2.
That's correct.
So what does the phase, how long is the phase 2?
So the phase 2 starts where phase 1 ends, which is North Montgomery Road, and from there we're going to go all the way to the county line. We're not going to go exactly to the county line because the way the road is, you have a sharp curve right there by Nash Farm, and so we're going to stop right before that. Then whenever Clayton County widens their section over there, it's called McDonough Road, then we can do our small portion because we don't want to build a road that goes nowhere because Clayton County doesn't have their portion designed. But we're going to be talking to them and, to see when are they going to plan to do that. I know at one time, as you know, it was a GDOT project, and it was supposed to go from I-75 all the way to State Route 54 in Fayette County. So.
Okay. All right, thank you. So can we get a motion to approve?
Yeah, and just before I do the motion, I just want to point out just kind of like Commissioner Robinson's point when she was talking about the IGA, it is important to note when you look at all of these resolutions how the districts are combining their money together, because once again, citizens, it doesn't matter what district it's in. So I appreciate it. This particular one is District 2 and District 5 because we share a portion of Jonesboro Road, and you'll see later on District 2, 4, and 5 because we share a JOTA code. So just to let the citizens know that we as commissioners, we are working together to make sure that we meet the needs of all citizens. And with that, I'll go ahead and move to approve.
Good. Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Okay, motion carries. Okay, next.
Okay, next one is design services for East Atlanta Road. The section of East Atlanta Road is from Rex Road all the way to Fairview. And also we have included the intersection improvement of East Atlanta at Rex. So this is also a +6 project. Purchasing department issued a request for qualifications, and they received 6 seal bids, and it was reviewed by Henry County staff and professionals. STV Incorporated ranked the highest, and they provided a cost for the design in the amount of $1,219,600. I will take any questions.
Any questions?
I just want to say to the residents in that area that they have been heard. Traffic is terrible because of the growth on both sides. So we have Clayton and we have Henry, and then a little snippet of DeKalb that are traveling those roads. But I just want to say that, it is Henry County, and we want to do our part in doing so. But again, having those conversations, even with our, counterparts in their other counties, to have those discussions on what can be done in that area would be most helpful. But thank you, Rocky, for making sure that that we'll be able to alleviate a lot of the traffic on that road for especially East Atlanta. So thank you so much for you again, you and your team, because you're always hearing from me, and I appreciate you listening to what my requests are.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Commissioner.
And if so, I move to approve the resolution.
Thanks. Got a motion
Second.
and a second, all in favor? And then the last one.
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah, the last one. This is design services for the widening of Jericho Road. This segment is, again, this is another +6 project for design, and the limits are from I-75 all the way to Hudson Bridge, which is a very good length. And it's in three districts. You got like Commissioner mentioned, and Lewis mentioned.
I was reading ahead.
Yes. So we got District 2, 4, and 5 funding this project. Again, we went through the purchasing department. They issued a request for qualifications for the Jericho Road widening design. 5 proposals were received and reviewed by Henry County staff and professionals. Trans-System Corporation ranked the highest, and they provided a fee in the amount of $1,985,000. Again, it's funded through SPLOST 6. I'll take any questions.
I want to leave with a comment and piggyback on what my colleague stated. As you notice, District 2, 4, and 5, making sure that we're all working together, because again, it does not matter, and we're better together. And I just want everyone to please understand that this board, when staff brings us a need for our community, that means we work together. So I'm grateful for my colleagues to have that at your forefront, to know that it's about taking care of the business of the people here in Henry County, and not saying, you know, I can do something somewhere else, when clearly we can focus on a priority and making sure that we attack that and get it done. So again, to my colleagues, thank you all. I mean, everybody up here, we work well together. We're not going to agree on everything, but we're going to definitely make sure that we do what's best at the end. So with that being said, if my other colleagues have any comments.
Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve this resolution.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. And you know, I just want to say that, I want to say thank you to the voters and citizens of Henry County, because these will be SPLOST dollars.
That's correct.
And over 50% of those pennies that are collected come from travelers along I-75. So, you know, thank you to the voters and citizens of Henry County that supported SPLOST, because this allows us to do the type of work that we need to do and to get projects completed. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Next item is Transit Department.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. This morning, I bring to you a presentation for Transit, our pilot bus route. We're finally here. We have a video and have consultants from VHB, Allison Bell and Deanna Murphy from Sarsma Group.
Henry County is moving forward, literally, with the launch of its first local bus road, set to begin service in the fall of 2025. This new road will connect major community destinations between McDonough and Stockbridge, including the McDonough Square, Stockbridge City Hall, Piedmont Henry Hospital, and the Stockbridge Park and Ride Lot. Riders can expect a convenient 2-hour round trip, with proposed service hours from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. A one-way fare is estimated at $2.50, in line with other Metro Atlanta transit systems. 23,800 residents and over 9,000 jobs lie within a half-mile of the planned bus stops, making this a vital step forward in expanding mobility and access across Henry County. Through the Henry County Bus Stops Creative Placemaking Plan, the county is exploring public art at several bus stops. Each design reflects the character of its location. In Henry McDonough, courthouse architecture meets library shelves and digital displays. In Stockbridge, musical elements celebrate the city's vibrant arts scene. And on Jonesboro Road, a bold H echoes the county's own identity. Thanks to federal support and local engagement, Henry County is building more than a bus road. We're shaping spaces that reflect our shared identity and connect people to opportunity. Thank you for supporting this vision for a more vibrant and connected Henry County.
Next, we have Allison Bell from VHB.
Good morning. Yes, so just to piggyback on that awesome video, I'm going to give just a quick overview of the local bus, the pilot route recommendations and timeline. I know that y'all have been briefed on this a few times before, so I'll keep it quick. So again, the recommended route, as you saw in the video, will extend down from Stockbridge, the Express Park and Ride, all the way down to downtown McDonough. And we'll hit major destinations and population and employment activity centers along the way, namely Piedmont Henry Hospital, as you saw on the video, downtown Stockbridge, and of course ending in downtown McDonough. This will greatly expand access to more destinations across the county and beyond regionally due to its connection to the Stockbridge Park and Ride. And you'll see down at the bottom of the map, there's the dashed purple line. There is, we did also include in this study a potential future extension to the McDonough Express Park and Ride lot on the other side of I-75 from downtown McDonough. So that's a future possibility. As stated in the video as well, this service will launch with 60-minute frequencies. So a bus would come every 60 minutes. This will be from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, so weekday service to start. Proposed $2.50 fare per trip, which is in line with what is offered regionally for other transit systems across the region. And the initial capital costs, so for stops and signage and things like that, will be $850,000, and the annual operating cost is expected to be about $650,000. So again, just highlights of some of the benefits. More than 23,000 residents live within a half mile of these stops, so this will greatly expand access both within the county and regionally. Over 9,000 jobs are within a half mile of these stops. And this will provide key connections to services such as medical services, government services, grocery stores, retail destinations, et cetera. And this will greatly tie into the existing microtransit service, as well as connections to the park and ride. So we'll tie into regional transit connectivity as well, and will also complement the existing dial-a-ride service that is already operating in Henry County. So next steps is just implementing. We have the route, we have the stop locations and everything, so it's just getting it in place. The next step, since this will be have some federal funding tied to it, is to do a NEPA checklist, which is a requirement of all federal funds, federal projects, and a paratransit plan. And then we'll move into the next steps of developing the schedule, permit, and installing the signage and amenities at the stops, the stop locations, hiring and training the drivers towards the end of the summer, and moving into the fall, starting to market and promote the service even more, and then in the fall, begin the service. So, like I said, try to keep it quick, but any questions on the route or the pilot route service?
Any questions from the board?
So I didn't see Locust Grove and Hampton in the plan.
Well, we invited all cities to partake in this plan. Hampton didn't participate. Locust Grove, there's really not a demand for it right now. But in the Transit Master Plan, there were 17 different proposed routes, and in that plan, Locust Grove is one, but this was the most priority.
So is there any plans of putting some type of transit from the senior centers. There's one in Locust Grove, and there's one in Hampton, to have some type of transit plan from the senior centers to the main, to the square. That way the seniors can at least get on a smaller bus over to the square to get where they need to go to Stockbridge, whatever. Is that not in the plan?
Well, currently, we serve the seniors in Henry County, so they can call transit and schedule a ride Monday through Friday between 7 and 12 and go anywhere within the county. So that service is in existence now.
So I noticed that you're gonna have several stops, and these little shelters, little bus stop shelters, are they gonna be lit up, or how does that gonna work? Because we talking at 6 p.m. dropping off, is stopping the service, in daylight savings time, you'll be dropping off in the dark. It basically starts getting dark in that time. So are they gonna be lighted areas where you're dropping all the citizens off?
Yes, that is correct. In the second part of the presentation, you will see about the creative bus making stop plan, and that will be in there. Will be security, lighting, different features that fit into the community as to where those stops are being placed.
So how about the crosswalks, are they gonna be lit as well? Because when these citizens, mainly probably seniors, when they get off the bus, they're gonna be crossing a county road, or the crosswalks are gonna be there with some type of warning devices where they can activate, where they can cross safely. Is that part of the plan as well?
There are some stops that are at intersections. The crosswalk exists now. There are some stops where there may not be anything there as of yet, but mostly it's a quarter mile between each stop. So most of them are at subdivisions or at a corner. If there's any more design regarding that, that would probably be more of a transportation perspective.
That's all the questions I have.
Piggybacking off of what Commissioner has asked, is there in the future, are they able to come in to where we can add that additional stop, or is this it?
No, there will be other stops and other actual routes that will be part of the plan, but absolutely, as the other lines come on, we will add those stops. I think there's like a lot of development along Jonesboro Road, so we have not stopped at the developments that are not complete. But once they are complete, we will add that. And I have also noticed that a lot of the subdivisions are now building curb cuts inside the entrance, so that may help as well.
And the reason why I ask, because again, I'm calling out my cities to make sure that they're at the table, because it will impact their constituents to be a part of this. So they're listening, so I just want to make sure that I'm stating that because it's very important that they are a part of the plan in order for it to work for all the constituents in Henry County. Also, I love how you all did take us on the ride, so thank you for doing that. But I did have another question. I just lost my train of thought because of that. But with these, the routes, I love how I got it now. I love how you have it in Stockbridge, where our new STEM school is gonna actually be with our school board. So that's gonna be really, really impactful for them to be able to have that right across the street. Because that way these are, high schoolers, and they'll be able to utilize that to go to the retail and all the other areas there as well. And even, some of them may be doing after-school activities and may need to use that to get to their next destination. So thank you for where that location is in Stockbridge.
You're welcome.
A couple things I think we want to make sure we hit home. First, we do have a grant for $1.6 million for 3 years that's coming from federal government. That needs to be said so constituents are aware that we have a federal grant to help with this, and our current match over the next 3 years is only $400,000 to that. I am correct with that, right?
That is correct. It's a total of $6 million, so we have operation for the first 3 years. After 3 years, we would need to revisit that and figure out, do we let it sunset, or do we continue or find additional grant funding for it to continue?
Correct, and thank you, you led me right where I'm going. I think it's after 3 years, which is where the questions then need to be answered. How well did the routes work? Do we need to make changes to those routes? But it gives us some seed money to at least start this process. With that being said, to kind of piggyback on a couple comments over here, the city of McDonough, and I'll speak just for the city of McDonough, also has a trolley plan that's going to be in place. So the city of McDonough will be running other routes to other places within the city of McDonough. So that will be addressed by the city of McDonough. My encouragement would be to the other cities, if the trolley's passing through there, do the same thing. Thank you. It is hard for me to believe, living in this county as long as I have been, that there is a need for a bus route. And that comes from, I think, those of us who have lived here our whole lives because we saw this primarily as farmland originally. I say that as I walk around the city and I live one block off the city square, is I see all the folks who would benefit from using this and I know will use this service to help reduce traffic around the square and help reduce traffic up and down 42. So thank y'all. I see this as a huge win for us, especially since it's being federally funded to help us get this process started. Thank y'all.
I just want to expose a question or concern that I've had prior or previously. My question would be for those corridors that will be getting widened, how are we going to address those bus stops? Just so that we won't be wasting funds. I think I shared to construct a stop, and then when the road widening comes, it has to be torn down or whatever the case may be. Have we thought any more about how will we address those corridors that will be widened? So as these stops are being built or put in place, how we would address that when the road widening starts?
Okay, so when the road widening starts, obviously if it's going to hinder a bus stop, then we would just have, unfortunately, eliminate that. But once they come back in, we will definitely put those stops back in place. And it may also create other stops as well. The traffic part, we would not have control over that, but I do know that there's another project, and I think maybe transit may not be part of it originally, but we have talked about it, where there may be signal prioritization for buses as well.
And I guess my question is there a way we could do maybe some type of temporary stop until the road widening is completed and then do the permanent, or would that work?
Yes, so along the corridor that we have now, I think Rock Quarry is one of your areas that they're going to be resurfacing. There's not going to be a stationary bus stop shelter there. This will be just stop signage and maybe a pad for somebody to get on. Any corridors that if it's going to be construction, then we would wait until that project is done before we build an actual physical sheltered stop.
Okay.
Can you go back to the slide that showed the number of, right there. So it's 23,800 residents that live within a half-mile stop. 91,000 jobs are within the half-mile stop. So when you started this, Ty, every city was invited to participate, correct?
That was correct. I say Stockbridge was very involved in the process from beginning to end.
Okay, so, and how long did it take you all to do this plan and come up with these dedicated routes? And what thoughts went, or what data went into identifying these dedicated routes?
So the plan was adopted in 2022 by the board, and we looked at the heavily populated area. People are trying to get out of the county. This is going to provide a location where they can get off the bus and get onto a MARTA stop. We're going to work in an agreement with that. But we also looked at elementary schools. We have a school that just was built off of Jonesboro Road. You have Eagles Landing High School, it's in Tunis High. We looked at medical locations. A lot of my current services that some residents cannot get to because we're just sometimes stretched thin. So this is going to provide an avenue for someone to get on a bus and get to those stops as well. And we looked at all of that: location, shopping, work, a lot of those areas there.
Okay, and so this is just the first you have other routes that are a part of the master transit plan that you did, correct?
That is
So there will
correct.
be other routes that will come online. This is just happens to be the first one. Because I think I remember seeing one that goes in Fairview. Was it one in the Fairview area?
I believe there was one going up 42, 138, 155 down Fairview Road.
Okay, so, and I guess I'm saying all of this is to say that you have jobs that are along this way. You have people that may reside not far away that can get on the bus and get to work or get to the Greta stop in Stockbridge. So for those that have to go into Atlanta, we talk about trying to figure out other modes of transportation to get some cars off the road. And then you may have people that don't drive and don't have cars. So this is a great benefit to them as well. And so I just want to say thank you for, this has been a long time coming, and I think this will be a great service to our community. So thank you so much.
And can I say one other thing? I know there's been reservations about our infrastructure for a bus route. But when I look at the bus, it is almost on the same style as school bus. So it's not like the big MARTA buses in Atlanta. So we already have this type of vehicle on our road. So I just wanted to.
That is correct, and that was my thought when I purchased the bus and had it built, is I didn't want to scare everyone with this big MARTA type bus. Kind of looks similar to our current buses, but just a lot bigger. But thank you.
So with that being said, this is a resolution approving the implementation of the Henry Connect pilot fixed route from Stockbridge to McDonough. Can I get a motion to approve? Can I get a second? Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. And then the next item is the resolution approving implementation of the Henry County bus stop placemaking plan. Okay, so are
Yes.
you going to present for that? Okay.
Yes. Good morning, Chairwoman and Commissioners. I'm Deanna Murphy with Sizemore Group. And while this plan was ongoing to identify the fixed routes, we had the pleasure of working with the county to identify 4 of those stops and how those could become placemaking bus stop shelters that not only provided those typical services like shelter and seating, but really became part of the community and storytelling and opportunities to really identify a place. So our overall project scope was to identify originally 3 bus stops along the route that we could implement the creative placemaking bus stop options. We were able to add 1 more, so we actually looked at 4 different stops along the route by shifting some of our scope around. Ultimately, it was to ensure that these stops had safe access for pedestrians and cyclists, and that not only were we creating stops that were exciting and spoke to the community, but also providing that framework for policy and implementation. Our process was very inclusive of the community. We had 3 different community meetings throughout the process. We engaged with middle school students, about 100 different students during workshops over the summer. We interviewed potential bus stop users along the route, went into businesses and spoke to those who might be users or have employees who might be users, and got some really positive feedback. We also engaged with local artists, which we called our arts and culture ambassadors, who we were able to compensate for their time, and they provided design and creative opportunities to engage the community in the process. And then, as mentioned, there were bus tours throughout these processes as well. These are the final concepts that we have presented in our report. At Henry County, the logo of the H was used as the basis for that design to create a fun shelter that also engages with seating and potential art being lit up on the digital verticals of the H. In McDonough, we were inspired by the historical architecture on the square to create that stop shelter. And that's in front of the Henry Courthouse, so we're calling that the Henry McDonough stop. And then in front of Alexander Park West, we created a train-themed bus stop. And then in front of Stockbridge City Hall near the amphitheater, we played off the music and cultural heritage there. We have a series of implementation steps in the report, including funding opportunities. But in the next 100 days, we're requesting that these be the next steps, starting with adoption and approval of the plan, which we hope to receive today. Next would be really starting to identify those key partners, the key funding strategies, looking at what grants to go after and start to draft those grants. It would be nice to have a design standards for all bus stops moving forward, so looking at funding opportunities to put that in place. As we look at the first opportunity, a site survey will be needed. And then lastly, looking to put together an RFP to solicit the design team to start implementing that first bus stop. And thank you so much for this opportunity. It was really a wonderful project, and staff was a pleasure to work with, so thank you.
Thank you. Was there any questions from the board?
I stated earlier, my big concern about the whole safety of the citizens would be the lighting, the crosswalks, to get them from point A to point B. That's my only concern about this whole fixed route and dropping them off at 6 o'clock in the evening and crossing these county roads. So if they can address that, that would be great.
And that was also a concern of the community, so we did hear safety and security through lighting and cameras, call buttons. So we do have recommendations within the report to ensure that there are security cameras, that there's appropriate lighting at the shelters. We did look at specific stops if there wasn't a crosswalk. For example, in front of Alexander West Park, there's not a crosswalk there, but there's an opportunity for a mid-block crossing. So we did recommend that in the report. So at these specific stops, we did look at some of those considerations.
So would they be in place when you have this implemented?
I think as long as it's part of the overall RFP process to, and the funding is available, I think it's definitely a possibility to do that.
All right, thank you.
And Madam Chair, I know there's been a lot of questions regarding crosswalks and specifically our SPLOST projects that may be impacted by the transit stops. Part of our due diligence process is for our transit team, once a consultant is selected to actually go in and start the construction, is to sit down with our SPLOST team and our DOT team to make sure that the safety concerns that you all are bringing up, that we're addressing. One of the things that Rocky walked over and spoke to me specifically about was incorporating specifically in those SPLOST projects, these improvements. And so we are going to make sure that we're not duplicating the work and that we're making sure that, one, we're not putting something down that we're gonna have to go back and replace. In any road project, we're gonna make sure that safety is at the forefront of everything that we do. So we'll make sure that all of that is incorporated in the final design.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, if there any other questions from the board? Okay, all right. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the implementation of the Henry County Bus Stop Placemaking Plan. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Ty. Thank you all for the work.
Thank you very much. And I also want to add, thank Sam Baker as well, because he started the Creative Bus Making Plan project. So I want to say thank you and kudos to Sam as well.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. Okay, next item on the agenda is planning and zoning, RZ-24-30. Ms. Solomon? Go back the other way. I think you need to go the other way.
Other way? Okay. There we go. Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, board members, and pillars of the community. The request before you is for property located at 8 Old South Ola Road. The property is currently zoned RA, and the applicant is requesting a rezoning to C1 Neighborhood Commercial for single office use. The total area of the subject property is approximately 0.543 plus or minus acres. The aerial map displays the subject property, which is outlined in green. This slide shows the future land use designation for the property, which is Village Commercial. And shown here is the current zoning of the property, which is RA, Residential Agricultural. Displayed above, you all will see the site plan provided by the applicant. We have received numerous comments from the departments across the county, which is seen above. Please see the site picture above. The applicant does not propose any additions to the exterior structure, only interior modifications are planned for this property. The applicant is requesting to rezone the property from RA to C1 Neighborhood Commercial for the purpose of operating a single office space. No other additions or proposals for this property will be made, and this will only be for interior updates to the existing building. On March 13, 2025, the Zoning Advisory Board recommended approval of the applicant's request with the following conditions. As you all can see above. And I want to thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Wasn't it an additional recommendation?
Yes, so the recommendation is that the uses shall be single office for finance, insurance, or real estate businesses only.
Okay.
So those will be the only uses.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Commissioner Wilson, is in your district.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I think this is a necessary rezoning for this property because where it's located. But I don't have any questions about the rezoning, so.
Okay, so this is a public hearing. And if there is anyone wishing to come to speak in favor of the request, please come forward. Okay, is there anyone here wishing to speak in opposition of the project? Okay, public hearing is closed. Commissioner Wilson, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, with that being said, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
got a motion and a second. No questions from the board, all in favor? Motion carries, thank you.
Thank you.
County Manager, do you have any comments?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and board members, and our amazing pillars of Henry County community. This morning, I have the pleasure of surprising some employees who are being recognized for the Henry County Pillars of Excellence. And so I'm sure some of them are sitting here because they were told they're here to just pay attention in the meeting, but they're actually being recognized. And so, is there a slide that goes along with it? Okay, well, Jesse's gonna pull up a slide. Don't hit the slide yet because I hate when it's a surprise and then the name pops up and it's not a surprise. So hold on, leave it there. Okay, very good. So in Henry County, our mission is guided by 5 pillars of excellence that values and shapes our work as employees. It defines our culture and drives as our service to our amazing community. Each quarter, we take time to celebrate those employees who exemplify those principles in outstanding ways. And so this morning, I am recognizing 5 individuals who have been identified either by their department directors or their colleagues for representing one of the 5 pillars. The first one is collaboration. This pillar represents our commitment to working together across department roles and perspectives. It's about building bridges, fostering teamwork, and achieving shared goals. I am pleased to recognize this morning from Animal Care and Control I'm sorry, there was a loud noise coming from there, so we apologize for that interruption. But from Animal Care and Control, Texeria Fontanes. And I am sure that I did not pronounce that correctly. Did I get close? Awesome. And I'm going to ask Shannon Senyo to join me because she is actually who helps pull all this together. I just get to make the presentation. So Shannon, if you'll come up and assist me with that. And then board, once we recognize, we will get individual pictures with each one of them. Thank you. Yep. The next one is for integrity. At Henry County, we believe in doing the right thing even when no one is watching. And so integrity builds trust and shows our commitment to ethical service. This morning, we're recognizing Carlos McGill with Stormwater Management. The next one is service. So servicing our residents with dedication, empathy, and respect is at the heart of everything we do. And so I forgot, Shannon had given me some other things I was supposed to say. Oh goodness. Okay, so on March 21st, 2025, an employee asked Emily for her supervisor or someone in charge. Emily went to the HR director to come to the front. And when the HR director approached, the employee expressed how much he appreciated Emily and how outstanding her customer service always is. This is just one example of the feedback regularly received regarding Emily Barnett and her positive and helpful demeanor. So for most of you all who enter this building, the first face you typically will see is Emily, and she is absolutely amazing. And so this morning we're recognizing Emily Barnett for service. Exactly. As you know, the meeting kept going and I kept thinking she's getting very nervous about not being at that front counter, so let me talk really fast. So the next one is fiscal stewardship. We are responsible stewards of public funds, making wise strategic financial decisions for long-term sustainability. The employee that we're recognizing this morning has been scheduling and implementing extension service programs, ensuring their appropriateness for targeted audiences. In doing so, she takes pride in assisting with office operations and ensuring financial management procedures are followed. This morning, we're recognizing Michelle McElwaney with the Extension Services. And then our final recipient this morning is for accountability. This employee, and I won't say the name until I get through the speech, raise awareness and provides valuable information to contributing to building a stronger relationship between the clerk's office and the community we serve. This morning, we are recognizing Mr. John Teague with the Office of the Superior Court Clerk. Congratulations. And I believe his mom is here as well. So at this time, we're going to ask the entire board to come down to our award recipients this morning. Again, congratulations to each and every one of you all, and thank you, team. You want to? I'll let you go. Yeah. Oh, yes, thank you.
Commissioners, thank you all for that time this morning. We do want to ask those recognized as pillars of excellence to hang around for a few more moments. We've got a lunch for them, and we'll do individual pictures and an additional small token. Thank you all for your service, showing how Henry cares and Henry is committed.
And again, thank you, Shannon, for pulling all of this together. Madam Chair, I do have a couple of comments. I know we are moving pretty quickly, but I wanted to remind the public and to remind the board that this Friday, May 9th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Jason T. Harper Event Center, we'll have our annual Senior Services Spring Fling. It is it's fun had by all. So, you know, that song where where your fans at, flex, be ready because the seniors are ready. And I hear that they are challenging us to every dance off possible. And then on Saturday, May 10th, we will have our annual spring parade hosted by Henry County Parks and Recreation. The parade begins at 10 a.m. with the festival from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're going to have food trucks, photo ops, inflatables, music, and more, and that will be right across the street at Red Hawk Park. And then this afternoon at 1 p.m., we are swearing in our Henry County Fire Chief and Deputy Fire Chief, Chief Pat Wilson. Yay. And Deputy Fire Chief Billy Petit at 1 p.m. It looks like we'll still be here around that time, so don't leave, Commissioners, because we want you all to join in welcoming our new leadership with the fire department. At this time, Madam Chair, that is all the comments I have. Oh, Chair, I'm sorry. I have one more. I would be remiss if I did not bring to the board's attention that this morning you all approved more than $25 million worth of SPLOST 6 projects. We are a month and 6 days into SPLOST 6, and we are already delivering on the promises that we have committed to. So I just wanted to make sure you all were aware of that, and every month we're going to show you how we're spending those pennies. So thank you.
I just want to say one thing, and I just want to recognize John specifically. I follow John on Facebook, and he gives us so many tidbits of Henry County history. I've learned so much from the things that he posts, and I just want to give a special thank you to John for preserving the history of Henry County, whether you white, black, blue, green, whatever. He gives us so many great tidbits, and I just want to personally say thank you.
Public comments. Anyone sign up for public comments? Okay, all right. Approval of minutes for March 18th, April 1st, April 15th, special call meeting, and April 15th, regular BOC meeting. Can I get a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. We need to move into executive session, so can I get a motion for us to move into executive session for litigation and real estate?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, and we will reconvene after executive. What you said, you don't want no.
Motion to reconvene the meeting.
Second, all in favor? I need a motion to approve an affidavit and the resolution pertaining to executive session. Can I get a motion? All in favor? Oh, upcoming meetings. May 28th at 6:30 is the regular scheduled BOC meeting. The May 20th, 2025 BOC meeting was changed to May 28th due to scheduling conflicts. June 3rd, 2025 at 9 a.m. is a regular scheduled BOC meeting. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.